Disturbing facts that will probably disturb you even if you're not easily disturbed. Part 32. In the year 2000, a British Airways flight plunged 30,000 feet in 1 minute after a mentally ill man stormed the cockpit and took control. The pilots subdued the man at 5,000 feet and were able to land at a nearby airport with just minor injuries. I want to know how that man knew how to fly a plane. Because I've seen pictures of the inside of the cockpit and I'm like, this whole thing's about to self-destruct. We're all going down because I have no idea. If you see ants in your house, do not squash them because squashing ants does not prevent ants in your house. Ants will actually come and collect the squashed ants if you leave them out and they get a free meal out of it. Ants will rarely have 5% of their colony outside of the colony at any given time. Bacteria in our guts have sex to better absorb vitamin B12. Hey, you guys boning in there? Knock it off. Hairworms, which are parasites that infect crickets and control their brain, can actually extend a male cricket's lifespan by removing its ability to chirp, so it's harder for predators and competing crickets to find him. Hairworms may even share their immune system with its host. It was like a good guy parasite, like, shut the fuck up, bro, they're onto you. In 1954, Anne Elizabeth Fowler Hodges, a lot of names, became the only known person to be struck by a meteorite and the only person in history to survive being struck by a meteorite. Here's a picture of her post-meteorite debacle. It's a bad bitch right there, Anne Elizabeth Fowler Hodges. That's why you got so many last names. When the 1930s musician Russ Columbo died from an accidental gunshot wound, his siblings went to great lengths to conceal the news from his mother, who had a heart condition. They wrote fake letters from him and used records to simulate his radio show. This continued until she died a decade later. There used to be a bedding ceremony during a marriage where the bride and groom are put together in their marital bed in front of numerous witnesses. In 16th century Germany, the guests would leave and play pipes, drums, and celebrate loudly outside the room while the couple consummate. I don't know about you, but I feel like that would be like either one, a huge ego boost. Someone's like, you better get it, girl. Or it would cause one of us to underperform. That's a lot of pressure. Can you imagine if it's just like less than mediocre and everyone's out there like, woo, and you're like, woo. In 2011, there was a woman named Fagiliu Mukhamadsynov, probably butchering that. She collapsed at home from a heart attack and was declared dead. Days later, as she lay in the casket at her own funeral, she woke up. Seeing all the weeping mourners, she began to panic and she started yelling and she was rushed to the hospital, where she died again 12 minutes later of heart failure for good this time. In the 1870s, William Shanks spent 15 years of his life calculating pi to 707 places by hand. However, the last few years were wasted as he made a mistake sometime after the 527th digit. Following a deadly avalanche in 1962, Peruvian authorities were warned of the potential for a much larger slide to occur by a group of American climbers. These warnings were not only ignored, but actively suppressed. 8 years later, the deadliest avalanche in history occurred, killing 30,000 people. Stupid Americans. Sometimes. Not this time, though. During an interview with Stephen Hawking, camera operator yanked a cable, causing an alarm and also causing Hawking to slump forward. Worried that they had killed him, everyone rushed over to find Hawking, giggling at his own joke. The alarm was from an office computer losing power. Oh, that Hawking, what a trickster. In 1916, there was a proposed amendment to the U.S. Constitution that would put all acts of war to a national vote, and anyone that voted yes for war would have to register as a volunteer for service in the United States Army. It's genius. Think smarter, not harder. Carrie Fisher once delivered a cow tongue inside a Tiffany box to a predatory producer who had assaulted her friend. The note on the box said, "The next delivery will be something of yours in a much smaller box." Everyone in Singapore above the age of 21 is automatically registered as an organ donor. Opting out from this act will result in you being put at the very bottom of the organ priority list, should you need an organ transplant. Look, I've been an organ donor since I got my driver's license. The whole doctors are less likely to save you if you're an organ donor, that's a myth. Please do not feed into that. That is not true. Those doctors are not going to withhold certain care from you just to give these other strangers your organs. It doesn't work like that. That's why doctors are not allowed to operate on their family, because there's too much emotion attached to it. Donate your organs. You don't need them after you die, I promise. During the American Revolution, an enslaved man was charged with treason and sentenced to hang. He argued that as a slave, he was not a citizen and could not commit treason against a government to which he owed no allegiance. He was subsequently pardoned. Love to see it. Dr. Phil lost his license to practice psychology in 2006. Therefore, all guests on his TV show have to sign a contract stating that they are only there to receive advice from an individual, not a psychologist. Dr. Phil be on some questionable stuff. A depressed Manchester teen once used several fake online personas to convince his best friend to murder him. After his best friend attempted to murder him and the individual survived the attack, he became the first person in UK history to be charged with inciting their own murder. If that's your best friend, why would you want to drag your best friend into it? That's fucked up. I don't like that. Frank Sinatra died the night of Seinfeld's finale, and his ambulance made it to the hospital in record time because traffic was so light due to everyone staying at home and watching the show. Wasn't fast enough to save him, though. Thanks for watching.